आत्माय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथिता पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणी भगवती अष्टादशाध्यायिनी अम्ब त्वामनुसन्ततामि भगवद्गीते भगवद्वेषिणी.
Mere Purushartha Jnana.
Mere Purushartha Jnana.
The
need by Abhyasa.
The discussion, like as I have been telling, there are two ways to look at this. One is, okay, if not possible this, do this. If not possible this, do this. If not possible this, do this. Like that, Bhagavan is suggesting, like the sense Abhyasa, Jnanam, and Dhyanam and Tyagam, all are mentioned progressively, but all are meant for people who are in the process of getting that internal infrastructure ready for Jnanam. So for that everything helps, all as Upaya helps, like Abhyasa. Even before we have seen Vairagyam you can gain by Abhyasa. Likewise, here also Upasana can be Abhyasa, even the Ekagrata can be done by Abhyasa. But Abhyasa means just sitting and practicing. The technique may not work. You must have some Jnanam. That's what I am doing. Jnanam will mean the context. What is the context in which I am doing all this? That Jnanam should be there. And how to do it, that Jnanam should be there. That is the Jnanam that is being talked about here. And then Karma means Upasana. And then if not, see, you are not able to, even though you know all these things, you are having that interest, but you are not able to, whatever may be the internal problems, are too busy, or you are so much used to activity and all that. So for that sort of people, okay, you do what will be a contributory person, do a lot of activity, but Tyaga, in the sense Karma Phala Tyaga, like whatever results that come, accept them as whatever it may, plus minus, whatever it is, as Ishvara Prasada and all that. Even that, finally, that will help you, will lead you to do Karma Tyaga. In the sense, over a period of time, once you are used to doing Karma Phala Tyaga, then you will almost like give up unnecessary activities, too much of avariciousness will go away. So Karma Tyaga you will catch up with. And once that both of them are there, you will have that internal, infrastructure ready for Jnanam. So Jnanam is not far away. So like that it is being talked about. That is how we have to look at it. Because there are too many things. Jnanam is not what they call Atma Jnanam. It is a Jnanam about that, what it is, what is the context in which we are doing all this. That is what he is referring to. Yeah.
It is to be understood that both Jnana and Abhyasa are retained in the progression. Therefore, he says meditation upon Ishvara is better than mere knowledge of Purushartha. Jnana Dhyanam Visishyate. Dhyana includes Karma Yoga, as was already mentioned. Meditation Dhyana with Karma Yoga is still better. Visishyate than knowledge of Purushartha Jnana, combined with practice, Abhyasa of Asana, Pranayama and so on. Finally, he says that even better than Dhyana is renunciation of the results of action, Karma Phala Tyaga. Even though he mentions it lastly, implying it is the easiest, it is the best. Why? Because of the result it produces. Tyaga Shantihi Anantaram. Because of renunciation, there is peace immediately. The moment you recognize something as Ishvara Prasada, there is cheer, composure, Shanti, which in turn qualifies you for immediate appreciation, Aparoksha Jnana of Atma. Since there is no hindrance, Akshara Brahma becomes a reality. Further, the Shanti gained by Karma Phala Tyaga is gained immediately, Anantaram, not later. If you receive all Karma Phala as Prasada, you have an antidote to sorrow, Dukkha, gain and loss, Labha.
Both
Labha.
Yeah.
Success and failure, Jaya. Because you are not subject to elation or depression. Success is prasada and not getting what you wanted is also prasada, Just as a sweet laddu is as much a prasada as ashes vibhuti. That prasada buddhi is what is praised here as karma palatyaga. Such a buddhi has shanti and is capable of knowing. Though the renunciation of karma pala is praised here, it looks as though it is meant for the person who cannot accomplish anything else. It is lost in the sequence in which each recommendation of Bhagavan is followed by asakto siyati. Asakto siyati.
Asaktosi yadi. Yadi means if so. If. Asakto meaning if you are not capable. So that is how you thought. If you are not capable of doing this, like that.
If you are not capable of doing this. But Bhagavan's phrasing here is in keeping with Arjuna's question as to who is better, meaning who is nearer to moksha, the one who pursues Akshara Brahma or a karma yogi meditating upon the Vishwarupa. In answer to Arjuna's question, Lord Krishna first said that the one who meditates upon Saguna Brahma and pursues a life of karma yoga is definitely nearer to moksha. But the other is already mukta in as much as the Shastra considers a sannyasi almost liberated.
Sannyasi
Vividisha
sannyasa meaning the person who takes a committed lifestyle of only Shravanam, Mananam, Nidhyasanam, he doesn't, he gives up all karmas, Vidhivat, by ritually giving up the karma and taking up to only Shravanam, Mananam, Nidhyasanam and all that, only Jnanam. If that person, what do you call, once he has understood, then he is not available for comparison with others, whether Upasana is better, Karma Palatyaga is better. So he is left out of the discussion, that's what he says, yeah.
Almost liberated. A Mukta Purusha. Being a sannyasi, he is mature and his knowledge will be unhindered. For this reason, he is spoken of as a jnani who cannot be compared to the ignorant. These jnanis, Bhagavan went on to say, necessarily become one with me. Then he speaks again about the karma yogi saying, I become the savior for them. Tesham aham samudharta.
Samudharta means I lift them up, I lift their morale, lift their understanding, lift their nearness to me, all those things. Uddharta meaning lifting them up, yeah.
Because of their upasana, which is an action, he must, as the karma pala data, give the result. Thus he provides them with opportunities for this knowledge and makes them qualified for it, indirectly becoming a savior. The Akshara Brahma Upasaka, however, does not require the intervention of Ishvara because Ishvara's grace is already with him, which is why he is pursuing this. We have seen that a person who has an inclination for Advaita only because of the grace of Ishvara, Pumsam Advaita Vasana.
Advaita Vasana, Ishvara Anugraha Deva. We have discussed it before. That comes in Viveka Chudamani also. Pumsam Advaita Vasana meaning a Pumsam is nothing but a Purusha. Purusha meaning a person, basically. A person who gets this inclination for Advaita Vasana. Advaita Vasana means inclination for Advaita by Ishvara Anugraha, meaning he has already gone through all these steps, the Karma Yoga, Upasana, etc. Maybe not in our knowledge, maybe he has earlier done, we don't know. So we think we just doing Upasana and is getting it. No, it doesn't like that. He must have already got himself, internal infrastructure might be already ready either by Purva Samskara or from previous birth, whatever it is, but he is ready. That is why he is able to do that, he is able to do that Shravanam, Mananam, Nidhyasanam without any hindrance. He has got that inclination, the attitude or the disposition to listen to Shastra for a long time and be ready, Ekagrata is there, all those things are there, so he is able to get it. It doesn't mean that he has not gone through all the Upasana and all that. He has gone through, but earlier. So, Pumsam Advaita Vasana meaning he has got already the grace, that is why he has got that inclination for pursuing this understanding, for this study. So, he is So he has already got the grace. Others will also get the grace once they take to upasana, karma yoga, meditation and all that. That's what Bhagavan says. Yes.
It is because he has earned the grace of Ishvara that he even has the samskaras for this pursuit. Such a person no longer requires an intervening Ishvara because he is non-separate from Ishvara and has discovered that there is no problem. Therefore, a Jnana Yogi, otherwise called Sannyasi, is one with Ishvara, whereas the other person requires the grace of Ishvara. In order to gain Antakarana Suddhi and Antakarana Naishchalya, for him, Ishvara becomes the savior. Lord Krishna is saying, the Jnanis become one with me, and for Karma Yogis I am the Samuddarta, the savior. This is the difference between Ajnani and the Jnani. In this verse, he is talking only about the ignorant, not the Jnanis whom he has left out of this discussion, because they cannot be compared to the ignorant. Later he will come back to them. Shankara introduces the next verse, noting that in this meditation upon Saguna Brahma, accompanied by Karma Yoga, the difference between Jiva and Ishvara is accepted. Both Karma Yoga, which is doing karma for the sake of Ishvara, Ishvarartham, Karma Anusthana, and meditation, in which there is a meditator and an object of meditation. Or for the person who has this Veda Jnana, the conclusion that he is different from Ishvara, from the world and from the other individuals. He may accept non-difference, Abheda, as a matter of faith, but he has no knowledge of it. If that appreciation is not possible for you, Asati Yadi, Bhagavan then gives an option.
This acceptosi yadi, in case you are not capable. That is why all these options are given. Bhagavan then gives all the options only for the person who looks upon himself as separate from Ishvara, separate from others, separate from the world. Because of that he has got all the fears and lack of concentration and all that. For him it is recommended. Person who looks at himself as an individual, separate from others and separate from the world and all that, then naturally he has to go through that, the whole exercise of abhyasa, dhyanam, meditation, karma yoga, being helpful, you have to raise above his own individuality, like I, me, my family. Beyond that he has to go, so that he develops that internal infrastructure. All those things he is recommending one by one. He has recommended all this in all these verses. That's what he is saying. Yeah.
The choice is only regarding various means for Antakarana Suddhi and Antakarana Naishchalya, not with reference to moksha, which is jnana. Choice can only exist when there is a possibility for it. If you want to see a color, can you choose whether to see it with your eyes or your ears? Here you have no choice. Similarly, moksha is only through knowledge. Jnanat eva moksha. The self is already liberated. It cannot and need not be accomplished by any karma, including a mental karma like Saguna Brahma Upasana. Meditation is not a means to remove ignorance, but to win the grace that will give you steadiness of mind. Antakarana Naishchalya, and for the Antakarana Suddhi, there is Karma Yoga. Being in the thick and thin of the world, with all your raga dveshas, you can utilize them with the right attitude and grow in the process. So for inner maturity, which is called inner purity, you require Karma Yoga, and for the sake of Naishchalya, the steadiness of the mind, you require Upasana. This is what is praised here. And the one who does this was praised earlier as the best of the yogis, Yoga Vittama. Again, this whole section only deals with the Ajnani.
When he says that if you cannot gain knowledge, you can do Karma Yoga, it looks as though there are independent paths for moksha and you can choose one among them. There is no such choice. If you are already liberated, it is a matter of knowing, and if you are not, there is no possibility of getting liberated. If the self is bound, it is forever bound, and if it is free even now. But if it is free and you think that it is Not your problem is one of ignorance. To remove that ignorance, you require Vedanta Pramana, nothing else. Choice applies only in gaining Antakarana Shuddhi and so on, for which there are a number of possibilities, including prayer. If, on the basis of this, you were to claim that all religions lead to the same goal, you are speaking only within the framework of Ajnana, ignorance. Whether you pray to Krishna, Rama, Shiva, Allah, or any other god, there is division, and that has nothing to do with jnana. Choice is only within the framework of division, where there is an attempt to gain something that is removed from you in terms of time or distance, or get rid of something you now have, and it is to be accomplished through action, karma, sadhya. Suppose you want to accomplish an end like gaining money. For that you require effort that can be any of the 100 different things, including buying a lottery ticket. It is a karma sadhya, something that is not with you now, and it is to be gained by you, for which you require karmas done either in this life or a previous life. You have to include the karma of previous lives to account for inheritances, lottery tickets, stock market gains, and so on. They are also earned. The point is that in anything that is to be accomplished by karma, choice is always involved. You can do it, you need not do it, or you can do it differently. Karma kartum sakyam, akartum sakyam, anyatava kartum sakyam. But it is not so in knowledge. What?
Sakyam.
Sakyam.
Yeah. Kartum sakyam, akartum sakyam, anyatava kartum
sakyam. But it is not so in knowledge. What choice do you have? You have to see the color of an object. You have to open your eyes. And having opened your eyes, if they are not defective, you will see only the color of the object, not any other color. Knowledge does not lend itself to choice. It is as true as the object, provided the means of knowledge is appropriate. Therefore, all the choices that Bhagavan has given in these verses are only within the framework of ignorance. They have nothing to do with jnana. If you are not able to meditate, then do yoga abhyasa so that your mind will gain the composure to meditate. If even that is not possible, then live a life of karma yoga, doing all your karma for the sake of Ishvara, meaning conforming to the law of dharma, recognizing that law as Ishvara. If that also is not possible, give up the results of karma phala tyagam kuru, graciously accepting whatever comes as a result of your actions. Thereby you will get shanti. So karma phala tyaga is not to be considered inferior to any other pursuit, because the result shanti makes the mind ready for moksha by jnana. The entire Shastra says, Tat Tvam Asi, you are Brahman. That is why you are liberated. If you are anything other than that, there is no freedom, because there is isolation from Ishvara. Therefore, Jnanat Moksha, it is not just said in the Gita. All the Puranas and even Itihasas repeatedly say that same thing, as does Shastra, which of course is the Pramana. Shankara once again makes it clear. All comparisons are among the means of self-purification and so on for the Ajnani. The Jnanis are to be left alone in this. Te tavat tishtantu.
Basically, they are already in Brahman. So, tishtantu, they are already there. So, leave them alone from the discussion. Yeah.
Among these means, one is prayer that brings about a definite result regardless of its form. Whether it is a highly sophisticated prayer or that of a tribal person, it invokes the same Ishvara. Both the sophisticated and the primitive or ignorant praying to Ishvara with the belief that he is listening to him. There is no difference whatsoever. The difference comes only when the Lord has said, I am you. With the basic Shraddha in that, there is a provisional difference in the prayer of a Jignasu. He does not accept division as a reality, even though for the time being it appears to exist. His prayer is that he will discover the reality. Though he does not have the vision of non-duality, Abheda Buddhi, because of he pursues the study of Shastra to discover that. In this pursuit, the whole approach is different, including prayer, which is why the package of a religion is also important. It should allow for the pursuit of Abheda because that is the final end. Even in a ritual, the intent sankalpa will be in keeping with this end. The religious aspect becomes as important as Vedanta because it allows Vedanta to become a reality. Religion is not a mere prayer. It includes a theology, and if the theology is rooted in Veda and considers it blasphemous to think that you are Ishvara, it can vitiate the whole pursuit. If, on the other hand, the prayer comes from a heart which knows from the Shastra that it is praying only for Abheda, the whole approach is different. And although any form of prayer is ignorance, it is still needed to help one get free from that ignorance. In prayer, will is used and in fact is expressed in its highest form. If you have the will to earn money, it is not surprising because money will immediately produce a difference in your life. Similarly, if you want name, fame, power and so on, and you exert your will to get it, there is nothing extraordinary about that. But in prayer, there is no immediate result. Yet you pray very earnestly. Prayer is the highest expression of will, pure will. The jnanis through prayer, etc., gained certain disposition that made jnana possible. A mumukshu follows their example. Arjuna here is a mumukshu. He wants moksha, and Krishna gives him all these choices which are only for mumukshus. In moksha, however, there is no choice because it is jnana. Having talked about the choices, he makes it clear that the result of all of them is the same shanti with which you can gain jnana. As an upasaka, meditating and living a life of karma yoga, you gain that shanti. Karma yoga will give you the shanti born of freedom from conflict, and meditation will also give you shanti. As a simple karma yogi, with karma palatyaga, prasada buddhi, prasada buddhi is predominant, and anything that comes in is recognized as coming from the Lord, who is the karma phala data, giver of the fruits of action. You understand that you can only do, not create. Creation, including the creation of the result of an action, takes place according to the law, which is Ishvara. Now the characteristics of the one who has jnana are described again for Arjuna. The jnana itself is moksha, and giving the characteristics, lakshanas, of a jnani, Bhagavan shows how he is one with him. The real definition of a jnani is the one who has jnana. It has nothing to do with his appearance or style of talking and so on, but there are certain characteristics of his interaction with the world in terms of his attitude towards things like his own anger, thirst, and situations he confronts. The manner in which he interacts not only with people but all other beings becomes sadhana for mumukshus. As sadhanas, they are to be understood and pursued. Some verses describing the jnani were given in the second chapter when Arjuna wanted to know the description of a sthitaprajna, a wise man. Now here is a further description which is useful for a mumukshu because what is natural to a jnani, the mumukshu can try to understand and assimilate as a value. These values are natural because they are in keeping with dharma and are therefore Ishvara. Any virtue is an expression of a particular law of the creation and is to be understood. Emotions like love, sympathy, compassion and so on are not at all what we commonly experience because the limitation of our understanding vitiates their expression. Even though they are experienced by all, they need to be assimilated. What's the meaning of vitiate, Swami?
Vitiation. Vitiates meaning it, what do you call it? It distorts. Distorts takes you away. You want to, what do you call it? It doesn't. It is not conducive. In the sense, if commonly experience, because the limitation of understanding investigates, like, because you have your understanding about love becomes attachment, and giving means you got it, what do you call it, enhances your ego. You give, okay, but you think I am giving. You want to ensure that everyone is around when you are giving, so that people appreciate you. And likewise, even what do you call loving also, it's an agenda. In the sense, you say that you love somebody, but you want something in return. So that you want something in return vitiates the what do you call, the purity of love. So vitiates there. The meaning is diminishing its value in your mind. So that is what he means. If emotions like love, sympathy, compassion are not what we commonly experience because of our agenda. Basically we are very much rooted that I am this person, this is my family, this is me, myself. That is so strong in our life. Because of that, even when you give, you don't give without an agenda. You want to see everyone wants to know that you are a giver. That has to boost your ego. And also you want to, even when you love, see, I am expressing so much of affection towards you, so you have to be also affectionate towards me. Minimum thing you expect is the other person should be equally affectionate to me. So that expectation vitiates the reality of your love and the purity of your love, the purity of your giving. All that gets vitiated because of the agenda you have. That is called vitiation. Vitiation means it distorts, it diminishes the value which love is a noble value, but because of these other considerations, it gets diminished. That is what he means by the name vitiates. Vitiates their expression.
Their expression. Even though they are experienced by all, they need to be assimilated. An appreciation of and conforming to the things that are going to be told here makes a person mature. Thereby, he or she can gain the knowledge. The way in which a jnani expresses himself in life is a sadhana for the ignorant, the seekers, whereas they are ornaments for him.
Yeah, basically what he says that for him it is siddha vishayam, spontaneous. A person who understands life overall, understanding life is complete, he will give spontaneously, he will be empathetic to people spontaneously, his love also will be pure, and that is a natural for him, spontaneous. For a mumukshu or a karma yogi, he has to deliberately develop that value. So for you it is a sadhana, for a person who already has got a overall understanding of life, it is a siddha vishaya. So the difference is only in terms of your disposition. You look at him and try to emulate him. That is why we say role model, examples and all that. So that is how it is.
Prashant Parigiriya?
Characteristics of a jnani. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Characteristics of a jnani, verse 13. Advesha, Adveshta, Sarvabhutanam, Maitraha, Karunayecha, Nirmamo, Nirahamkaraha, Samatukka, Sukakshami. Adveshta, the one who has no hatred. Sarvabhutanam, for all beings. Maitraha, the one who has the disposition of a friend. Karunaha, the one who is compassionate. Evacha, and indeed. Nirmamaha, free from possessiveness. Nirahankaraha, free from the doership. Sama dukkha sukhaha, equal in pleasant and unpleasant situations. Shami, one who is naturally accommodative. The one who has no hatred for all beings, who has the disposition of a friend, who is compassionate, free from possessiveness, free from doership, equal in pleasant and unpleasant situations, and indeed one who is naturally accommodative. Actually, Swamiji, one thing I wanted to share just as as a common thing is, for example, we read this paragraph and I try to contemplate on myself and see what is it that made me. So first, close your eyes. Lot of those events, everything run through your mind, and on this one paragraph itself, Swamiji, it takes almost 1 hour to meditate, right? So, if I were like a person to meditate on the entire subject of what we are reading and do it, I feel that one lifetime may not be enough from that perspective.
Yeah, basically, I tell you, meditation, it helps. Swamiji always used to say, what you are able to call out the people to whom you have some, not even hatred, some difference of opinion and all that, some everything, if you are able to call them in meditation and deliberately Ishvara them, okay, let him be what he is. He is like that because of his background, the way in which he has been brought up, the way in which of his life situation he is behaving like that. I will accept him as he is. I am not entertaining any hatred towards him. That sort of a thing can be a meditation. It's beautiful to have that sort of a, once you appreciate where you lack and you call it in meditation and deliberately put out the opposite feeling, like no, I will accept him as he is. That sort of a thing on a regular basis you do, it really grows on you. That's what you say is true in the sense, we have a lot of those things. As we grow up, we pick up, we didn't pay attention to all those things. But once you start paying attention and calling them in meditation and you samadhanam, once you do that, definitely it brings in a change in your life. There is no doubt about it. It may look like it is too, may take too long. It is not so. That is why he says, nachire nadi gachadi. You may think that it is impossible or it may take time. Shastra says, no, once you start doing this, once you start moving in this direction, you will be able to achieve it faster because Bhagavan is there on the other side waiting to hold you. Because he is waiting for you to come to him. So it will happen faster than what you think. But you must have that disposition, you must have this earnestness to do all that. Then it will happen. That's what he says. Yeah.
These verses from here up to the last one, one in the chapter talk about the person who is a sannyasi, a jnani. Even though later he says that devotee is beloved to me, say bhaktaha me priyaha, he is not talking about the devotee that we commonly understand, the one who makes a division between himself and Ishvara due to ignorance. If a devotee had this notion of difference between Jiva and Ishvara, he would not have the qualifications mentioned in this verse. These are attributes only of a person who is krita kritya, who has found fulfillment through knowing that by nature he is free from any limitation. Because of that knowledge, he is spontaneously free from hatred, dvesha and so on. So these qualifications are meant to describe a wise man, not a devotee or a karma yogi, but they are told with the seeker in view. If you want to be free from hatred, well, that happens to be the nature of Atma. If there is no doubt or vagueness to the nature of Atma's fullness, Ananda, the expression and interacting with the world will be based in that Ananda and will express as love, the one basic emotion that modifies into compassion, friendliness and so on, as the situation requires. All these are expressions of one Ananda. Though these qualities describe a wise man, they are not meant to judge whether a person is wise. They are purely description of those values and attitudes that the seeker should cultivate. This sentence is good. Though these qualities describe a wise man, they are not meant to judge whether a person is wise.
It's all meant for ourselves, not for others. Because generally, once we know these few words and few verses, then we start looking at others, judging them. Like even this sattva, rajas, tamas and all that, the three, the prakriti, the qualities of the prakriti, the people will start talking. No, that fellow has got more sattva, this fellow has got more rajas. There are a lot of categorizing people that he is a sattva person, he is a rajasic person, he is a tamasic, a dull person, etc. So it is not meant for that. It is not meant for characterizing others and all. Every one of us has rajas, tamas, and when you are sleeping, you are having tamas. When you are active, you are having rajas. When you are sitting and contemplating or studying even the subject matter also, you are a sattvic person. All the three are there. But deliberately, in all our activities and all our values, we have to improve the sattvikata. And so that we become more, you are able to understand. Jnanam becomes a priority in your life and all. So it's all meant for only looking at yourself, not for judging others. That part of it, they are making it conscious. Because once you express values and all that, you will start, this fellow whether is okay. On these yardsticks, the other fellow is okay, will be busy. looking at others rather than looking at ourselves. That is what. It is all meant for only introspection, our own looking at ourselves. That is what we should. Other things will happen. Other people, once you are able to express your friendliness and love and all that, others will catch up. Perhaps they will pick it up from you. So that is how we have to cut the whole thing. If we become a better person, automatically people around us also will be able to pick up the vibes and interact with us better. So that is again the Shraddha, because the Shraddha has to be there. It is very healthy and helpful rather than looking at others and trying to judge. That's what he says. Yeah.
Actually, Swamiji, the yardstick should not be there. No, Swamiji. We should not have
the yardsticks for judging others should not be there. It is only to imbibe that values for in our own person, so that we become improved. In the sense we develop the Chitta Samadhana. The Chitta Samadhana is what is an internal infrastructure for what you must be able to look at life from the eyes of the Shastra. For that you have to sit and study, you have to do reflect. For that you must have the mind. In spite of a busy day, you must be able to get back to yourself. For that these qualities will help. So the internal infrastructure, the whole thing is only a upaya. For the upeya meaning jnana. Jnana is nothing but understanding that there is a kada vastu aparichinnam is my reality. For that, whatever I need to understand, I study and I keep studying. And the very fact is what I was telling in the yesterday's talk, if you listen to it.
Yes.
The reality is that, in the sense it is so simple, only that you must have the internal infrastructure ready. And for that your lifestyle should be conducive. For that, these are all the tips given by Shastra. What are the values will help you to get that. So that is how you have to look at it, not for judging others. That's what it is.
Actually, Swamiji, in that some discussions we have amongst an office, just like that for colloquial talk, some people will say, why explain the same meaning in so many different texts? Like, remember I asked you 4 weeks back, why the same information is there in different texts conveying the same thing? So you gave a beautiful explanation. Yesterday that person actually asked me, why is it that God has given these many texts? I said, like how a mother tells a son so many times to do the same thing and the son doesn't listen. God has written so many texts and asked you to do, but still we are not doing. That's why we are still functioning like that.
People come from different backgrounds. In the sense, for every background, there is a certain anecdote, there is a certain example, that will feel to that person because of the background. So that is why Shastra and even all the Upanishads and all are written by various people at various point in time, sitting in the yoga, sitting in the forest, and millennium years away, whatever that comes to him at that level in these circumstances, he has put it out as a mantra. The whole thing God was compiled and segregated depending on whether it is a verse, whether it's a mantra, whether it's a prose, and put together as one Veda and all that. It's all the millions of years of work of inspiration by the rishis, sitting in various circumstances, various ways they have lived and all that. So since they have seen through all those circumstances where a human being can go through, every other mantra will have some appeal to some people from a different background. So that is why Gita has got its own value, Upanishads have got their own value, Brahma Sutra analysis has got its own value. But definitely it is all needed. We know very well that that is why even the values, certain things can, for some people, it may be easy to, karma phala tyaga may be easy. For some person, why take the trouble of doing something which is not going to be helpful? So at the karma level only he will stop doing that. He will have a disposition of not going to too much, expensive restaurants or expensive. So he already has a value for a simple living. So if he has a value for the simple living, that should be nurtured. For that, nurturing that as a simple value to be something conducive to life, if he has the exposure of a person who says, yes, correct, simple living, high thinking is good for you, then he will not develop. Some people know, if they don't know, no, I am a very simple person, it's not going to be good in this world, I must develop taste, so I must go to parties, I must get to know. All those things people develop without knowing that a simple living will be good and conducive for this. So somebody has to tell him. So for somebody, that is why that sort of a thing is put in the text also. Simple living is, I think, is good. Some people it appeals, and some people who are very, very active, who are naturally talented, you have to tell him that whatever you are doing, the talent, you use it for the welfare of the society. Do it, accumulate money, contribute, and start a factory and give jobs to many people. All those things. This is a person is basically active and competitive and is good. Then give him a way by which he will be able to enhance his circle of influence by being contributory in that sense. So for him, he'll be a simple person, may not be appealing because he's basically very competitive and doing a lot of work. So he is given to Rajasic, whatever you call it. So for different people from different circumstances, different values will appeal. But either way, all of them are meant to enhance the quality of the mental infrastructure where you have the chitta samadhanam, ekagrata, that alertness. That alertness will give you that space within where even though I am doing all these things, the person, I am very much aware of all these activities, my own disposition, my own way of interacting. I am very alert to that. That space will help you to understand that, okay, these are all my roles. But the reality is found in the Shastra. So you will be able to get to that. Even though I am a very active person, you will be able to spend time with the Shastra to understand. And you will make it again. So different people from different circumstances, different values are required. Take one value and hold on to it and make it spontaneous for you, then other values will follow. That is what from now on, the 13th chapter, everywhere, different values will be talked about for different people. But everything will all lead to only one thing, which is the infrastructure to be ready for understanding this jnanam. That's what he says. Yeah.
Adveshta sarvabhutanam, Adveshta sarvabhutanam, the one who is free from hatred, Adveshta towards all beings, sarvabhutanam. This is one of the most important qualifications of a sannyasi. Shankara says, even though a person may cause him some pain, the jnani does not entertain any hatred or ill will towards the person. For him, this is very natural because he sees all creatures as himself. Though it is an expression in keeping with the Shastra, psychologically speaking, this is how it works. Hatred arises only when someone can make you unhappy. If someone cheats you and you feel cheated, naturally you will hate the person. You have been deceived and feel outraged. If you depend upon the world, you will definitely divide the world into objects of raga and dvesha. An object that you think makes you unhappy, you will naturally hate. But if you have inner freedom concerning your dependence upon the world for your fullness, your vision is purely objective and love is your natural expression. You have no resistance to a person being as he or she is. You may not be able to change them, even though you know a change would have changed the entire society. Even a wise man may have many people around him, some of them his own disciples, whom he cannot totally change. That is because it is very difficult for people to change. They will praise the wise man, attributing all that is good to him and not to themselves. And all the time, the teacher is saying, you are everything. But if you project that all is good onto someone else, you can continue to be as you are, and that is easier than changing because change is very painful.
Yeah, that is what generally we always used to say. Like, you go to a person who is a Mahatma or a wise man and all that, and make lot of stuti. Stuti meaning you praise him, you write slokas on him, verses on him, praise him, and put him give him all the like goodies, like fruits and all that. Do namaskar, you are great. Like that you do propitiate, take something and come back. The idea is you have, yes, definitely a value for this goodness. But by propitiating, you feel that you have got rid of your guilt of not being one. In the sense, you also want to be like that, but you are not in a position to be like that. So, by praising him and giving him gifts and giving him food, a lot of goodies and all that, you feel that you have done you got rid of your guilt. So, go pray and take prasada, tirtham and all that, come away peaceful for that time being, so that even though you have value for this, you don't have to become like that. You have already put an altar like a Bhagwan Mahatma, and you praised him, you have given him all the gifts and all that, and taken Tirtham and come back. So, this is a very big impediment not to change. In the sense, you are not interested in changing yourself, you are only interested in the vibhuti of the other person. That is not because that is easier than changing yourself. Because change for you to change yourself, to be a Mahatma yourself, you have to take a lot of efforts on your part. So you don't want to emulate him and want to become a Mahatma. You appreciate the Mahatma, give him all the obeisance and come away. So that is an impediment in your growth. That's what he's trying to say. Yeah.
Even going to Swamiji, that we go visit Swamigas or Swamigas, we go visit. In a way, we should learn something from them instead of just going.
That is what is very fun. We tell in our we always tell. I tell people here when I'm addressing the teachers and people, I always tell because of the Mahatma, he has started so many initiatives, school, college, Goshala, Patashala, and so many, we are all benefited and all that. We think that because he is a Mahatma, he has started all these things. Okay? Because he has started all these things, we are all benefited, so we look at him as. See, what made him a Mahatma in the first place? Before he started all these things. That is what we should imbibe in ourselves. So, we should try to emulate a Mahatma to be one, rather than just propitiate him and sing his praises and come away. That is an impediment by itself. That is where largely what is happening in society is only that. We don't try to emulate, we don't want to imbibe even one single quality, which is what he is saying. This entire thing from now on, the 13th chapter and all that, it's going to be talking about the Mahatma. The Mahatma, what are all the qualities? Why it is told? Not to praise, but for us to emulate, pick up one value at least and try to grow into that. Then we also can become a Mahatma in the sense, the fulfilled person. Why Mahatma does so much of other work? Because he is fulfilled himself. So our objective also has to be fulfilled here and now. Thereafter what you do is, depends. Whatever circumstances come, you can do something, you may not do something. Or you can just participate in the good work that is being done by others. Whatever it may be. But the whole important thing is that you have to grow. You have to grow into a Mahatma by understanding what made him a Mahatma is the Jnanam. And Jnana is how we got it, by the disposition. How we got the disposition? By yoga, karma yoga, living like that. So we have to pick up those values. That should be the objective of going to a Mahatma, not just propitiating and stuti. That's what he is trying to say. That is what he says, because it is easier than doing it yourself. That should not be the objective in the society. That's what he is trying to say. Yeah.
Then again, if you do not change, it is also painful. So you pray to invoke the grace for the necessary changes to take place. The commitment to change expressed in that prayer will take care of it. If we say a wise person does not hate, it is not a sanction for the ignorant to hate. The point is, no person has a reason to hate another in as much as a person is what he is because he cannot be otherwise.
See, basically what he says is that all these values are innate to a human being. If the reality of the human being is known, there is no reason for one to hate another person, irrespective of what the other person is, because whatever other person is purely in terms of that body, mind, sense complex and its circumstances in which he has grown and all that. So everything belongs to the body, mind, sense complex, not to the basic being, the basic person, the same in all. That so essentially there is no reason for one to hate another person. Something like right hand hating the left hand. Being one person, irrespective of whatever the left hand, even if it hurts the eye by mistake, the right hand doesn't go and fight with the left hand. So in the same way, there is only one being. The whole cosmos, there is only one being, that is the reality. So if at all there are any changes, anything happening, it is purely in the changing aspects. The changing aspect, one body, mind, sense complex can do something mischievous and the other body, mind, sense complex can get affected. So it is like one hand affecting the other hand. So that is that appreciation has to be, is what we are trying to arrive at. For that reason, initially, as an effort, we must ensure that whatever may be, I will look at the other person as accepting him rather than hating him. Even though he may be doing something wrong, I will find a way, either I will ensure that I don't get affected, or I will try to advise him, or I will try to change the circumstance where he will not do anything wrong. All those things we can do, but never in any situation you develop a hatred for him, because he is not other. Because that is the ultimate understanding of the Shastra. He is not the other. He is, the whole thing is a changing aspect. One bundle of body-mind sense complex is interacting with another bundle of body-mind sense complex. One is not doing that well, another is doing that well. That's all. But the basic being is the same in all. That is the tatparyam of the jnani. So that is why he is able to have the freedom not to hate the other person. So by seeing him, if we develop that value, that okay, I will not, irrespective of whatever is happening, I will not hate another person. I will not allow anyone to hurt me. In the sense, whatever he does it out of his own compulsion and all that. I will not allow that to hurt me, so that I will develop hatred for him. So all those filters you have to develop as a value. Initially it's a sadhana, but it will become over a period of time, crystallize into your own disposition. So till that time you have to work on it. Thereafter it becomes a disposition for you. That's what it is. Yeah.
Point is,
the commitment to change expressed in that.
the commitment to change expressed in that prayer will take care of it. If we say a wise person does not hate, is not a sanction for the ignorant to hate. Point is, no person has a reason to hate another in as much as a person is what he is, because he cannot be otherwise. If he could, he would certainly change. Behavior that causes pain to others also causes pain to the one who inflicts it. Naturally, a person would want to change such behavior. The fact that he does not shows very clearly that he cannot. It is foolish to want the world to be entirely according to your wishes, even though they may seem valid. The changes you may wish for a person may definitely be good for him and those who relate to him. The problem is the person may not share your values, even if he does. Changing to conform to them is not a simple matter of will. Certain things where an action is involved, you can change by will. You can decide to walk a mile a day and then do it. You can always force yourself to do an action. But inner change is a different matter. This will only confuse the issue here. This only confuses the issue here. Commitment to change is fine, but by simply willing, you do not change. It is something like somebody asking you to love him, you cannot do anything about it. It is something that has to happen. Only by prayer can people hope to change. If you can understand that a person behaves as he does because he cannot help it, and if you see yourself from that person's point of view, you will find that you have to change. You always think that the other person should change. Well, he is equally free to think that you should change. If you analyze it, you find that you have no right to will others to change. The maximum you can do is to change yourself. Then, if you really let others be what they are, you find there is no hatred. Hatred comes, as I said in the beginning, only when somebody makes you unhappy. The truth is, nobody makes you unhappy. The problems comes from internalizing the behavior of others. If somebody does or say something disagreeable to you, you get angry. But if somebody complains to you of a headache, you do not get angry, and yet it is the same situation when an emotional problem causes certain types of behavior. The problem belongs to the person. You are responsible for your own actions and emotions, not those of others. Only if you could control things could you be totally responsible for them, and since you have no control over your own emotion, where is the question of assuming, hold on, something happened.
Responsibility for others' actions. In the sense, yeah. What happened?
Can someone read? I will take it over.
There is a question of assuming responsibility for others' actions. If you have done something intentionally or unintentionally, you can own it up and make amends. Be honest about your feelings. Of the change. You can make amends for your omissions and commissions, but what about those of others?
Yeah. How are you responsible for them?
Yeah.
Yet someone else's omissions and commissions seem to affect you to a great extent emotionally because you at once internalize it. Certain behavior or words trigger old patterns of thinking like self-criticism stemming from your background. If you analyze it properly, hatred is meaningless for any person, leave alone for a wise person, for a wise man. Hatred, anger, and so on arise from a desire to control. Many people have tried to save the world, but in the end they are destroyed, often by some microscopic creatures. The only change you can hope to bring about is a change in yourself, and because you are free, you can change, as can others if they want to. Everyone is a potential saint because saintliness is an expression of the nature of yourself. If you see this, you will find you have no problem of control or ill will. You only have freedom, pragmatism, and nothing to quarrel about. What is possible, you do. What is not possible, you just accept.
Stop here. Stop here. So basically, it is the whole set of values now we are talking about is only for the self, in the sense our own. We are interested in growing, so we have to apply the whole yardstick which has been discussed. How to insulate ourselves from others' behavior and ensure that we have the chitta samadhanam, a sense of composure in ourselves, and don't be. And if at all you appreciate, you are sensitive enough, you appreciate the other person as he is, in the sense he is like that because of his circumstances. I will pray for him. I will ensure that he is in good shape, and but I will not develop any hatred for him. And when I think he is getting whatever he does is affecting me in the job or something like that, I will try and insulate myself from that thing, and or I will take it as prasada. I will try and improve the situation in spite of the other person's behavior, whatever it is. But never develop any hatred, wherein it will further aggravate the situation. So this is our practical inputs. At the same time, it helps you to improve your self-composure. And improving your self-composure by, that is your objective, because that is how you want to grow, so that you can study, you can understand that what the Shastra is going to tell, that you are essentially, you don't lose anything, you don't gain anything, you are already a Purna Purusha. All these are happening in the changing world of objects and subjects and body, mind, senses. Now that is the, but we have already got a Shraddha, we have already gone through these 12 chapters. We are now very clear that what is the reality and all that. Now we are looking at all things as a upaya, the means by which I can grow as a person, irrespective of the circumstances in which I live, irrespective of the people among whom I live. So my concentration will be on to improve my internal disposition rather than use these values to judge others. So how to insulate, irrespective of every value for you, what is a value for you, what is a non-value for others, both have to be juxtaposed. Ensure that the non-value, it does not become your value, and your value you don't use it to judge the non-value of the others. So, because simultaneously both will be there. Once you have a value, there will be some people who will not follow that value. So you can't say, no, that fellow is not following the value, so I will develop hatred for him. No, that doesn't work. Do your value, at the same time appreciate the other fellow does not have that value because of various reasons. And try to not to develop any hatred, or because that way also you can ensure that he doesn't hurt you. You insulate yourself. By his wrong behavior, he doesn't create any hurt or impediment in your internal disposition. That way also it is helpful. That is what they are going to say now, 12th chapter, 13th chapter and all that. How to improve your internal disposition to make it conducive for the study and owning up the reality, which we have already gone through in these 12 chapters, that we are only the being is the only reality of Ishvara as well as we. So everything else is changing. The changing will keep changing. We can give it a name, but it doesn't make any difference whether you name it or not. The changing will keep changing only, not complete. Changeless is our reality. Let us try to get there by understanding the jnanam, for which let me develop the infrastructure by developing all these values which are jnani possesses, whom you see as a Mahatma, how he sees very pleasant disposition, saintly behavior, all those things we imbibe in ourselves. That is the idea. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Namaha. Hari Om.